not saying both of those car scenes don't have their
tool bags.
You know, yeah, their ups and downs, to say the least. Like this kid in front of us in the SI that gave us a stink eye for just driving this car.
He got on it too.
He wants it, yeah. I think we're probably gonna run it with this kid if we get a chance. So
he's going.
Yeah, he's going for it. What's up, guys? Nick, Two Guys, One Car. Got Dylan behind the camera today. Today we are bringing you something really cool. I had one of these cars previously, an earlier model, so I'm excited to give you guys a review on it. Got a 2011 Mark 6 Volkswagen GTI 2.0 turbo. So we actually, unlike most of our videos, we have the owner here with us. We'll bring him in a little bit to kind of go over the likes and dislikes of owning this car. He's had it for about 3 or 4 years now. So just gonna go in depth, do our usual walk around of the outside of the car and get into the inside. And we're most excited to just drive this thing today. It's not stock. It has a stage 1 APR tune, has a full exhaust, and it sounds really good. It sounds very unique. Has a weird turbo whistle to it that you'll hear. Really the main point for me with these cars and what I wanted to talk about, what people love about these cars, including myself, is how easily you can modify them on a budget, where you really can push out a lot of power on these cars without having to go into changing clutches or anything to support the power. They just take it. They're very underpowered coming out of the factory to give you that availability to tune them and do what you want to them. The owner of this car picked it up for $16,000 with 30,000 miles on it. I mean, that's a perfectly affordable car. It's such a good deal for this thing. And I mean, right now it's getting closer to 80 or 90,000, I believe, and it's still is easily worth 10 grand, maybe more. I mean, they hold value very well, unlike a lot of German cars. And I mean, you just have the aftermarket accessibility is just phenomenal for them. That was always why I love them. And I mean, you'll see when we get into putting the power down on it, they take a beating and they put it down very well. So yeah, the exterior on it, straightforward. You guys know what these cars look like. They're really nice cars. Outside, the owner has a lot of little things done to it. Taillights are aftermarket. The Alzor wheels, which I had on my old GTI, they're like the perfect wheel for this car. They're like $400, and they're you know, a perfectly fine wheel for this car. ECS Tuning, Black Forest Industries make parts so readily available for this car in every make and model for Volkswagen, Audi, and all that. So yeah, there's like a million things here to go over, so I can't go over all of them. But just the performance, like I said, stage 1 tune, full exhaust, ECS dog bone mount insert, red coil pack, iridium plugs. Yeah, there's just so much here, but you guys get the point. It's not a stock GTI that we're giving you guys today. It's I think the first modified car that we've done, so that's going to be pretty fun. Moving on to the interior on it. I love the interior on these cars. After
classic.
Yes. After the Mark IV, they went with the they started with the plaid seats and the nicer stitched interiors. This one's Mark VI. They continued it. The back seats are also plaid. You do have some leg room back here for a little hot hatch. Yeah. You know, everything's just put together very nice on this car's interior. There's really not much to say there. Very user friendly on the interface and everything. Super nice car. Moving on to under the hood. Also badgeless grille with the insert. What was that, ECS? You got it? So yeah, under the hood, obviously, sorry my shadow. A bunch of plastic as usual for newer cars, but it keeps these cars looking super clean. Nice filter placement. Mine didn't have that. Guess they got a little better with time. This is a 2.0 motor, bone stock, 200 horsepower. The stage 1 APR tune bumped it up to about 260 horsepower, 305 or 310 torque. Probably do a nice exhaust note rev.
Yeah, there you go.
And then kind of get into the driving of this bad boy. Get into the driving of it. So right off the bat,
feels different.
Yeah, right off the bat, he has something to say already about the clutch.
Yeah, this shifter, and I know you got videos of it already when we were driving over here. The shifter is extremely loose. Whatever gear you're in, it moves all around, very sloppy. And the owner said that it's been like this since he got it. When you got it, too?
Yeah.
Well,
yep.
what is it? It's like,
It's just a shitty transmission.
Huh.
That's the only thing though, is like, all right, drivability wise, that sucks ass.
Yeah, look.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He was talking about probably a short throw shift kit would hopefully make it better.
Straighten things out.
You know, tighten things up. And I think it would. It's just, it's very odd to me. And you don't get that nice pop coming out of gear. It feels very, like you just don't feel it. You know, you almost can't tell that you're out of gear.
Sounds phenomenal. You hear that, like, air suction in the back? That weirdness to the exhaust?
The AC totally makes a different feel to the throttle, by the way.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, as we're driving the GTI here, right off the bat, I'm a fan because it's a hot hatch. And as you guys know, with my Subaru, I do like the hatchback wagon style of cars. It's funny, I was talking about the shifter being super loose, and then I couldn't find third gear. I put it in fifth. That's really bothering me, but that's something that you could fix probably easily with like a short throw shifter. Besides that, the clutch feels really nice. And you've never done the clutch in this car?
No, all stock.
Surprisingly, because he's got 60 more horsepower than the factory, and it's got about 90,000 miles on it, and the clutch still grabs. As soon as you lift your foot off, it grabs. It's there. Here we're getting on the highway now. Do a little highway pull. Roll onto it in fourth. That is so weird, that scream.
Yeah.
That whistle is so fucking weird.
She's literally screaming at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
It's definitely not as bouncy as your GTI. Well, you also had
I had ST coils.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was just saying, bone stock. Even with the 90,000 miles this car has on the stock suspension, it feels very good. You know, it feels very solid and rides very comfortable for a little hot hatch.
And so now we're driving this car, you know, in my head what I compare it to is I have driven a few Ford Focus STs, another hot hatch, pretty comparable to this car. I mean, you know, when it comes to hot hatches, the ST and this are the top tier. Power-wise, even with this tune that this car has, I want to say it would be faster than an ST, but I honestly can't tell because the STs were pretty quick for, you know, for bone stock little 4-cylinders. We're getting off the highway finally, see what this thing does on back roads. It's definitely exciting. It's definitely not a car like the 86 where like you need to be a little bit skilled to start throwing this car into turns. I mean, even like for myself, I consider myself a wheelman, but I would have to drive this car for a few days to really get used to it. And you know, because it's a turbo car, the power comes on a little different.
Sure, yeah.
But like what I was talking about earlier with the SI and other front-wheel drive cars, I always look for torque steer. This doesn't do it that bad until the turbo hits, and even then, it's not horrible. It's not uncontrollable. It's just you gotta know what's gonna happen and be prepared. That's one thing I love about the hot hatches and it's the same in the ST Ford Focus ST. There really is like virtually no understeer, which you kind of expect in front-wheel drive vehicles. As everybody in the car just felt as we were getting through that back section of that turn, the back end, you feel the back end get a little loose. And I'd rather have that happen than understeer. Understeer is scary because you don't know where you're going.
I want to get a video like we did with the Charger.
Oh, a flyby?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want it.
Exhaust,
I'm sure he'd want it too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Want a video of it from outside?
Yeah.
So I gotta say, as we're going through this and you see how this car handles, you know the power figures now that I was talking about earlier, you know how I feel in terms of the aftermarket accessibility, how much you can do to this car with how little of money. This car is my favorite hot hatch. It always has been and probably always will be. It bothers me that I still don't own one, actually. But this is kind of the basis of what I wanted this video to go off, is why this is my favorite hot hatch, really, and why I think it's the best bang for your buck in the hot hatch market. And I really think it always will be. They keep improving this car, exterior-wise, interior-wise, performance-wise. Like I said, they're detuned from the factory, and you have a blank canvas, much like the Toyota 86 that we reviewed. Sure, it's a totally different car, but it's one of those cars where you have an excellent blank canvas to build on, and the parts are off the chain, you know?
Yeah, no, it's definitely an exciting car to drive. The way the power comes on really gets your adrenaline going when you're pushing it. I still gotta say though, personally, the ST is my favorite that I've driven, just because it's very smooth and the handling is just a little bit better. I mean, but that's also, what year is this car?
2011.
Okay, yeah, and I was driving 15, 16, 17 Ford Focus ST.
They have made, and you know, this video being based off of the hot hatch market, that is one car that they really improved on in the last 5 years, I'd say, were the Fords, you know.
Yeah,
the
Ford kicked yeah, but cars like this is what forced them to do that.
Yes. Oh yeah. GTI is the staple of that market, and I think it always will be.
That aren't gonna be fucking jammed.
Oh, did you see that fucking evil eye from the Civic?
Really?
My God.
I was just commenting how you know, now that I've been driving it for a little while, this is definitely a very enjoyable car to drive. You know, when you're not pushing it and you're just cruising, it's smooth. The shifts are smooth. You know, it's just an easy, enjoyable car to drive. And then when you want to crank it up, like I was saying earlier when we were hitting those back roads, it really gets your adrenaline pumping. The noise it makes and the way that power comes on with the turbo, it really wakes up. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's definitely a thumbs up, especially, you know, if you guys are looking to get into something and get into a car scene. First of all, Volkswagen is probably the biggest car scene next to, like, the Civic, Honda kids.
We're not saying both of those car scenes don't have their
tool bags.
You know, yeah, they're ups and downs, to say the least. Like this kid in front of us in the SI that gave us a stink eye for just driving this car. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's obviously a thumbs up. Like I said,
He got on it too.
He wants it, yeah. See, there you go. Oh yeah, he's ripping it. So yeah, like I said, thumbs up for me, obviously. This is one of the reasons why right here. It's just such a nice car. Obviously, like I said, one of my favorite hot hatches. I think it's great. So definitely a thumbs up for me. I think we're probably going to run it with this kid if we get a chance. So
he's going.
Yeah, he's going for it. So like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. Thank you.